This is an instructional video about simplifying fractions. And our essential question today is, how do common factors help me simplify fractions? And it's an illustrating level question. So first up, we're going to remind ourselves, what is the greatest common factor? And that is the largest number that is a factor of all numbers in a set. So for example, we need to find the GCF of 12 and 32. A strategy that we've used in the past is just making the giant F. That's just a way to organize our list, but it's not the only way that we have to do it. So I have 12, I have 32. What are factors that make 12? I have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. For 32, I have 1 and 32, 2 and 16, and then 4 and 8. I need to see what's in common. 1 is in common, 2 is in common, and then 4 is in common, and then I need the greatest of those. Well, my greatest common factor is 4. Now we're going to use the idea of GCF to kind of help us with simplifying, but it's not the only way to help us with simplifying. It's just probably going to be the most efficient way about going about it. So what does it mean to simplify? To simplify means we divide, combine, or make something in lowest terms. Now, what we do a lot with fractions is we do a lot of dividing when it comes to simplifying. So if we need to kind of remind yourself that we're literally only dividing when it comes to simplifying fractions. So how do you simplify fractions? Divide both numerator, not number, numerator and denominator by common factors until there are no more. Until there are no more. One will always be a common factor between two numbers, but if I simplify something by dividing by 1, it doesn't change it. So let me move my camera down here so we can have some space. So let's look at an example. Let's simplify the fraction 25/40ths. Now I'm looking here, and I can use my divisibility rules to think in my head too. So remember, we had 2, 3, 5, 9, and 10. So can I divide them both by 2? Is that a common factor? Well, that ends with a 5, so no. How about 5? Can I divide these both by 5? I'm looking, and yes, I can. And if I actually went and did the GCF, I would find out that 5 is the greatest common factor of 25 and 40. When I divide both of them by a common factor, look, I get 5/8. Now let me show you one more example where it's not going to be as straightforward like that one. What if I had 64 and 90? Now, in Miss Wolf's dream world, we would just try to find the greatest common factor of 64 and 90. And we would do that. We would go, oh, okay, so that's what I divide by. Because if we divide these two numbers by the greatest common factor, we put it in lowest terms. And 5/8 is in lowest terms because what's the only factor that's common between 5 and 8? It's 1. And if you divide by 1, you still get 5/8. So it's not going to change it anymore. So that's how we simplified that one. Whereas this one here, This is why we use divisibility rules, right? Because now I can kind of think about this. Can I divide these both by any of these numbers? Yeah, I can divide them both by 2, can't I? Because these are both even. So let's divide by 2. That gets you 32. This gets you 45. Are there any other common factors? Let's see. I think so. If I think about 32, what are things that divide 32? 4. That doesn't get divided by 4. What else can be divided by 32? 2. That can be divided by 2. 16. That can be divided by 16. So actually, Ms. Wolf made an oopsie, and she just gave you one that's already in lowest terms again. All right, I'm going to give you one that for sure we're going to have to do a little bit of extra division with. Let me do that. What's a common factor? I don't know. 2? Let's divide by 2. What do we get? 8/16. Nope, sorry, 8/18. What's a common factor between those ones? 2. Let's divide by 2. So then we get 4/9. Is there any other common factor between 4 and 9? Nope. Just 1. So notice here that it took me a couple times to simplify it, and I just continued to simplify it. 2 is always the easiest one to start with. 5 can help and 10 can help too, but you just got to remember your divisibility rules to help you out. If I found the GCF between 64 and 90, I would have found out it would have been 2. If I looked for the GCF between 16 and 36, I would have gotten it to be 4. And how does Ms. Wolf know that? Because I divided by 2 and then divided by 2. Well, what's 2 times 2? It's 4. And actually, if you did 16 and 36, 4 is their greatest common factor. So that's how we use common factors to help us simplify fractions.